the freelance conference with my friend Tory, and there's a really interesting story that he was telling me earlier about what he does for clients. And I thought it was important to share it here. And then there's an interesting business lesson or business topic for us kind of to discuss.
Sure.
So can you retell me the story, or share the story of the client that you save $5,000 a month for?
Right. So pretty much this client was frustrated with insurance. Insurance costs too much money. He wanted to provide it for his employees, but he couldn't afford it. The last agent that came to his door charged him $6,000 a month for like 6 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's outrageous. So what I did was, when I met him, he says, you know what, I've been quoted $6,000. What can you do that's better? I said, let me take a look. So I looked at all of his employees and the details. And I went inside and I looked at my portfolio of business partners. I have a partnership with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, a whole bunch of them. And I was able to cut his previous quote by $5,000 because I shopped it around.
That's incredible.
And as a result, he doubled his company. He's doing very well. His employees are sticking around longer because he has health insurance. For a business owner, he has to be smart about his money. So it's not just about growing the business, growing the income, it's managing that money and where it goes. For example, a lot of people do what's called a self-insured plan, which is one of the best models for lots of businesses, because what it allows you to do is you pay money into the self-insured plan, and as an employer, you get to control those funds in what's called a claim bucket. And so that claims bucket is controlled by you, and at the end of the year, if you have lower claims than what's in the claim bucket, you get to keep the excess. Then you get to roll it into your business or roll it into another insurance plan for the following year, and you have more control. Whereas if you go to another model, which is the one that we all know about, which is the fully insured model, that means you pay a premium and then the insurance company agrees to cover you. If you have low claims, high claims, you have no return on investment either way, right? Yes, you may not have to pay a lot of expenses, but most times than not, you're actually losing money because you have a younger population in your business. You're not going to have a lot of claims. So why pay that money to a company who's going to keep that for profit?
Is there a cap on how much a company could spend in a year? Like, is there an insurance policy on top of?
Yes,
okay.
It is, yes. So what happens is, with a self-insured plan, let's say, for example, you wanted to put $30,000 in the claims fund for your employees. So that means that every time they go to the doctor, then the bill's presented, and then from that claims fund, they pay that bill. Let's say, for example, someone gets terribly sick with something like cancer, right? And it's $200,000. That same self-insured plan has another insurance on top of that, which is a stop loss, meaning that if it exceeds that $30,000, then that stop loss insurance will pay for everything else. And as an employer, you're not coming out of your pocket with more money. So it's a wonderful arrangement where you get to control the expense, and really you help the employees to think of themselves as little owners of the business.
Right. They start getting involved in the process. So then you start transferring some of the incentives for wellness programs and stuff like this.
Right. So you get different apps, and so the employee can get an app to see how well they're doing. For example, there's some companies that will actually monitor it. So if someone was prescribed heart medicine, right? Let's say they're not taking it like they're supposed to. On this app, it would flag off to show this employee is not taking that medicine. They're going to cost you more money down the road. Someone needs to talk to them. And so that's how that would work. So it's just thinking out the box, as an employer, to make sure you're making the best investment in your business and also in your employees. Because at the end of the day, employees will stay there because you're taking care of them. And one of the ways that you take care of them is through health insurance.
That's wonderful. That's great. That's a really valuable lesson, and I don't think a lot of business owners know about those. And what would you say is a good what are good criteria or entry criteria of the kind of business that you would start recommending this to? So what size?
Right. So that's a great question. So back in the days, only big corporations had access to this. Now, because the market has shifted, I can offer this to companies that as small as 5 employees.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And then goes up. So once again, they're controlling their expense. It's just a different option for them. And if they're smart, they can do that. Get back. Some employers actually paid out bonuses at the end of the year because not a lot of the claims fund was used.
Wow, incredible. And they can either they get it back or they can roll it into the next year.
Exactly.
So they were saying, hey, if we save money as a team, this is what happens.
Right. And one employer said, you know what, at the end of the year, for November and December, don't worry about payroll deductions for health insurance benefits. We're going to cover it because we got access.
That's wonderful. That makes sense. So here was the interesting lesson, right? You were able to save over $60,000 a year. Yes. So assuming that you can do that the next year and the next year, right? You're talking about in 3 years, $150,000 to $210,000 probably of total savings. Now the business operation question came in, which is I was asking, where's your incentive? How can you continue this?
Right.
So this is the interesting point, and I think this is what's really important and what's really beautiful about what Tory's doing is that he is motivated to save money, and I know this based on the stories you were telling me up to this point.
Right.
And I get that feeling when someone is trying to sell me, and this didn't happen in this relationship. It was by way of him telling a story of what happened in his past was he able to finally get to the point. But then I thought again, my business owner brain kicked in. I was like, well, how are you able to keep the lights on?
Exactly.
Right. Because ultimately, if you were able to drive down the cost for your client to even more, another $500, you would do that based on your mission.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then how can we keep you in business as your client so that you're able to be there for us next year?
Good.
Right? And so that's kind of what the conversation became. And really what's going on here is Tory's really more of a fiduciary, right? He's really presenting you the best deal, and in the current model of the business, making money on the brokerage side of it. However, I think there may be an opportunity so that as a fiduciary, you say, right, this is what the story is. These are what the costs are. This is my markup on the product. However, I have an additional markup to be on the same side of the table with you as we walk through this journey together.
Exactly.
Right? I think that's really interesting. And I think based on your personality, your mission, your story, right, that's what's really attractive, because a lot of people won't make a deal because they lack trust in themselves, in you, right? It could be they don't trust you, they don't know you enough to make the deal, or they lack trust in themselves on making a good decision, right? And really, by the way you could position, you can remove the trust factor, you can remove those kind of obstacles and be able to make them. I think it was an interesting story, and I thought it was something that we could share.
Sure, absolutely.
So there's 3 amazing lessons there. One is Tory is definitely the person you want to talk to and get some quotes if you need insurance.
Yes, please.
2, again, look at the economic model that you put your business, or as you set up your business model, so that you can actually benefit from what you're really doing in this case. Right? You're not trying to sell something expensive. You're just trying to help the client in whichever path is the best for them.
Yes.
And the third thing is that when you're a small, short guy like myself, take advantage of different seat heights so that you don't look, because I think you're a good foot taller than I am, at least.
I think so, man.
So, try to be strategic. So 3 lessons from this video.
That's right.
Dude, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.